Hey, how you guys doing today? Hope all is well. My name is Dexter Donnell. This is Lyric Donnell. We're Home Smart agents, Donnell 40 acres. What we're going to do today is we're going to go over some questions about first-time home buyers. Right now, it's a very good time to be out there, buying homes. The interest rates are low, meaning that money is cheap. So what that means is that basically, your monthly payment is going to be reasonable. You can actually buy more house now than you could, when the interest rates were kind of high. So what we want to do is, excuse me, we want to go over some of the questions that may be asked. So Lyric is going to ask some questions, and we're going to kind of have a dialogue and kind of see if we can hopefully guide you in the right direction to getting your first home. So,
All right, let's do it.
all right.
So, first things first, can you explain our job as agents? Because a lot of people don't understand what we do on a day-to-day basis. They think it's a lot of the times they probably think it's easy, or what do you do? Why am I paying you? You know how people will say, what am I paying you for? So could you just explain what our day-to-day job looks like?
Oh yeah, definitely. Basically, as an agent, there's different folds as an agent. You have your listing agent, you also have your buyer's agent. But in this case, we're dealing on the buyer side. So me as the agent, my job is to protect you. I want to make sure that whatever property that I show you, I want to make sure that it's a fit for you. I want to make sure that when you look at the house, if there's any inspections that need to be done with the house, once you're approved for the house, you want to make sure that, all that's done correctly. Also, too, you have home warranties, that we need to look at to make sure that there's no mechanical problems, with the property. Meaning that if something breaks down like a water heater, if you have a home warranty, you'll be able to utilize that home warranty to fix the water heater. Meaning, you may end up paying $75 instead of paying $1,000, for the entire water heater. So these are certain things that we guide you through. You also have escrow, you have title. We want to make sure that the title is clean. You don't want it to be a situation whereas, that's, there's a problem with the title on the property. You don't want to have you and someone else on that title that you didn't know about. So it is a process. And, we're dealing with the banks as well because we want to make sure that all the funding goes well, also because at the end of the day, you have to be able to get funded. And we may have to work out some things as we go through that process. The lender may need, certain paperwork and things like that. But we do a lot of work. It's a long process in order to get this thing done. Normally I set a 30-day out, once you are approved, for the contract or the actual house. So we kind of set it out, so we can get all these things done and meet all these deadlines. So there are deadlines that we have to meet.
Okay, so I'll combine these questions because they're kind of in the same realm. So first off, people want to know, why is getting qualified such a huge deal? And after getting qualified, now what?
I got you. Getting qualified is important. There's a lot of people, what tends to happen, they call you, they may see a house and they say, hey, I want to get that house. Can we look at it now? But the only problem is, if you're not pre-qualified, for the actual amount of what they're selling it for, then, you're going to kind of waste your time as far as trying to get that house. You have to be set up through the lender first. That's what you want to do. I direct you to the lender first because we got to see exactly, what you do qualify for. That's very important because in order to, make sure that we can, get the loan that you qualify for, that you can actually make the payments on, the loan officer is going to be the one that's going to determine based on your own criteria, through credit, credit scores, debt to ratio. They're going to look at, those type of things to make sure that you can't afford that house. Now, you may not can't afford the house that you saw, but once we get you qualified, we'll find you something else, that's comparable, to that house. So we want to get you qualified for, first. We want to get you in there first to get you qualified. And I think once we can get you qualified, it'll give the agent, which is myself or Lyric, a better opportunity in getting you something that's going to make sense, whereas that we don't have an issue once, we get approved for the property and everything. We want to make sure that we have a smooth transaction. And part of that is pre-qualifying, for what you're trying to purchase. Okay. So that was a great question.
Thank you. So another question. So as a let's just say as a client, how much money would you advise me to have saved up to get my home? Okay,
that's a great question. I normally tell people this: if you are trying to buy a house, you're looking at anywhere from 3% to 5%. First-time home buyer programs. Now they do have first-time home buyer programs, incentives. Where you can qualify. For up to let's say maybe 5%. Of the down payment. And also the closing costs, because you have down payment and also closing costs as well. So it'll cover some of those fees. But to be honest, it's better to have as much as you can, because normally even when you do qualify for those incentives, you still end up having to pay for it, somewhere down the road. So I would say it's always good to have at least 3 to 5% or more, if you can, because the more money you have, the better off you are in getting the property. So I would say 3 to 5% would be something good, to have.
So people want to know, is it even possible to buy a home in this market?
Yes, it's very possible. I would say this, there is a home shortage right now going on because of the underbuilding of properties, from 2008. Probably up into 2016. So yeah, and now this is just not here in Phoenix, but this is all over America right now. They're having a housing shortage. But even though we're having a housing shortage, we set the expectations for you. Once we know what you qualify for, then therefore that's what we're going to look and try to get you. Now, is it always a successful situation? Well, it may not always be successful, because it may be something that you want that we can't get you based on what you can qualify for and based on the competition. But if you're reasonable and if the expectations are set right, then yeah, we shouldn't really have an issue in getting you a property. That's our goal, in order to get you the property, that you want. And we're going to work hard in order to get that done for you.
Okay. Yeah. And so in short, can you explain why financially buying is always going to be better than renting a property?
Oh, yeah. That's a great question. If you're buying a house, one thing you have to look at is that it's your house. You own it, right? You get the tax benefits, from the house as well. If you want to come in and redecorate the house, if you want to paint the house, add an additional room, take things off, put things on, you have that right to do it. And keep in mind, it creates generational wealth. It's your property. Okay, so if you're renting a house, basically what you're doing is you're giving the money away. That money that you could be saving towards your own investment, you're actually paying someone else's, home off. So therefore, you have no equity in it. And keep in mind, if you have a 1-year lease, guess what? You're going to have to do the same thing over again, meaning that you're going to have to go out and find another place. You're going to have to put all these down payments, these deposits down and things like that. And guess what? You still don't have a share in the property. It's still someone else's property that you're paying off. So it's very vital, if you can get a property, own a property, it's going to be better for you at the end, because as you pay that payment down, one day you're going to own it. It's going to be yours, and, you won't have a payment at all. And you can also, again, pass that property down to, your family, which is important, or your kids. So yeah, it's a great question. Definitely.
Awesome. So what is the minimum range of FICO score you should have in order to get down payment assistance?
Okay. When you're looking at down payment assistance, you want to be at 640. Anything that's 640 and higher on your score, that's where you really want to be at, especially when you're dealing with FHA, conventional lending. Okay, so now, there are situations where you can probably be at 580. But when I do speak of 580, you want to make sure that your debt to ratio is really low. And when we speak of debt to ratio, it's based on what you pay out each month. A lot of times people may have credit cards and things like that, and their credit cards may be maxed, which is not good because that hurts your debt to ratio. And that's part of your qualifying, process. So you want to make sure that your debt to ratio is low. That's important. And you want to make sure that that FICO score is as high as you can get it. Because the higher the FICO score, the better your interest rate, right? And the better your interest rate, the lower the payment, right? So you want to work on that. But like I said, if you do have a lower score, even if the score is, let's say, 560, if you still want to, call in, or it could be less than that. It's always good to work on your credit to try to get it better in order to get that house. There's ways to get the house. You might not be able to get it today with a lower credit score, but there's ways you can work on it and get that credit score up. That's important. But I would say, 640 would be a really good score to be at, and to, see if you can get above that, because the better, you're above it, the better your interest rate's going to be for you. So
okay, so what if I don't have any credit established? What's one way I can get a line of credit today?
You can always get a secured card. You can go to whoever your bank is, and that's a great question. If you're with Chase or B of A or whatever bank that you bank with, could be a credit union, you could go to that place, right, and you can ask for a secured card. Basically, what a secured card is that you're putting your own money towards your credit, right? And they'll give you a card based on what you guys agree to. It could be a $300 secured card or a $500 secured card, and you want to make sure you pay that card off each and every month. You want to make sure you keep that ratio under 30% as well. Probably within a year, as long as you pay it and pay it off and pay it on time, they may exchange that out into a basic normal card, which actually, even with the secured card, is still going to push your credit up. Okay, so just by getting that secured card is going to help you. The whole idea is to get your debt down as much as you can, right? And at the same time, make sure that you stay at your job and have the income in order to show that you can make those payments. So yeah, that's a really great question that you asked.
Awesome. So can you explain the importance of being patient in this type of market?
Oh yes, that's a great question. I know sometimes, in this type of market, people can get kind of frustrated, trying to find a house. People are bidding way over price, and people are getting outbidded. And for the buyer, sometimes it can be kind of frustrating. They may not think the agent is doing what they are supposed to be doing, and they get kind of weird about it. But no, it's not. It's not that the agent is not doing what they're supposed to do. It's just how the market is. Especially when you have people that have cash, they can come in and just pay the whole cash. Then then the seller has its own discretion of who they're going to choose in order to purchase a house based on what their qualifications are or criteria are. Because at the end of the day, it's up to the seller to accept it, right? So if you're dealing where you may not have that much money, or you're dealing with a process, whereas that, let's say FHA, for instance. FHA, requires, some different things, that needs to be done to the house. And sometimes the seller, especially in this type of market, may not choose the FHA. They may go with the conventional, right? And the reason is because it's an easier loan, meaning that if there's some problems with the house, or sockets or something just may be wrong with the house, and I'm not talking about as far as structural, but it may need painting or something like that inside, and FHA may not approve it. They may not, but then the conventional, they don't really care. It's a whole different kind of loan. Which you still could be 3 to 5%, loan. So I would say if you only qualify for an FHA, that's okay. Just be really patient about it, and eventually we'll get you something. That's just how it works. We may get outbidded, but just hang in there. You're already qualified, so as long as you qualify, we'll just kind of work with you. And it's all based on the market. We're right now in these market conditions where it's a seller's market, so they have the control. And so we just have to deal with what has been given to us and just give us a little time to help you. Let us work through this, with you. And, we'll make sure that we take care of it for you. Yeah, that's a great question, yeah.
Okay, so last question. What would you advise a consumer? So what characteristics do you think they should look out for when choosing an agent?
I got you. Well, basically, when you're dealing with an agent, I look at it from this perspective. There's, tons of agents out there, that's, they're good. They're good at their job. I don't go around putting them down. But, they're good at their job. I always say, when you're looking for an agent, if you're trying to find someone, especially, it could be on the listing side or it could be on the buyer side, you want to make sure that they do what they say they're going to do. And what I mean by that is that normally when you get in contact with me, if you email me or if you call me, if I don't answer the phone, trust me, I'm going to call you back that day. I am going to get back in contact with you. Now, if you're dealing with an agent, and I'm going to tell you something, I don't care how busy they are, I don't care what the circumstance is, they need to get back in contact with you that day. And if they don't get in contact with you back, that day, then you may, have a problem with them down the road. Now, I'm not saying they're going to contact you the moment that you call them if they don't answer. But that day, there shouldn't be any reason, that they shouldn't, get back in contact with you. And, that's something, I take pride, we take pride on that. We will get back in contact with you. We'll text you. We'll email you. We'll do whatever we need to do in order to get back in contact with you because we want to make this a great experience for you. We want you to be excited. We want to make sure that you get what, you like, within, a reasonable qualifications of what you can qualify for based on the loan. So, you want to look at some of those things, with the agent to see how, to see how attentive they are. That's a good way, if you're dealing with myself and Lyric, you're not going to have that issue. We're going to make sure we take care of you. Definitely are. So, that was definitely a great question, because a lot of times people may ask that question and they
don't know what to do,
Yeah, they definitely don't know what to do, so... But this was a great segment, and I hope that you guys, learned something, from this. You can definitely, get, in contact with us either on our Facebook page. You can hit us up at IG, which is Donnell 40 Acres. That's Donnell, Donnell 40 Acres. That's the IG. You can also hit me up at Dex at Levine, which is Laveen, homeguy.com, right? That's my email. You can hit me there, or again, you can come to the Facebook. I have a Facebook page that's at Dexter Donnell, but it's Donnell. You can go there as well, or look into Buy with Dex as well. That's Buy with Dex. And our phone number is 480-788-3543. That's 480-788-3543. You can always get in contact with us. We definitely, love to hear from you. And I definitely appreciate you interviewing me today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Definitely. So if you don't get in contact with me, you can always talk to Lyric, and she can also give you her information as well.
I'll link everything below, but my email is Donnelllyric@gmail. It's Donnelllyric. And I have an Instagram page at Lawlyric, LAHLYRIC, and my phone number 480-285-5182. But like I said, I'll link everything below so you guys won't have to remember all this. You can just copy and paste it. And we're going to be making a lot more of these videos, so just stay tuned and send them to your friends.
And also like our page and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.